Good afternoon everyone and welcome to Ibrox. I'd like to introduce you to Derek McInnes, our new men's first team manager. Derek was the only candidate for the role and we're delighted to have secured him. He's highly regarded within the club and exactly what we need at this moment. Derek brings with him a wealth of experience in both Scottish football and Rangers. He understands what it takes to succeed at Rangers, having been a player here, and he's built over a successful manager over many years. Everyone associated with Rangers understands the standards of this football club. The board and the senior team are all aligned and focused on exactly what future success looks like, and we're delighted and driven to give the fans a club that they can be proud of. I'll open up the floor now for any questions to Derek and I.
Adam Binney, Sky Sports. Derek, first of all, congratulations. Can you tell us what it means to you to be sat here finally as Rangers manager?
Yeah, obviously, very special moment. I think for myself, my family, there's a lot of people I can think of on a day like this, but obviously, having known the club for a long time, supported the club, I'm well aware of the responsibility that being manager brings. So excited to get going. I feel as though it's the right time for me, and I feel I'm ready for it. I feel as if I belong here and I'm ready to get going with it and looking forward to just getting started. As Jim said, we just want to try and deliver a team that meets the demand here. I feel as though the Rangers fans, won title in 15 years or whatever, have suffered for a long time, and it's up to us to try now and play a key role in driving the standards and get a winning Rangers team on the pitch more often than not. I've got an idea of what my Rangers team needs to look like. And hopefully it's something similar that the Rangers fans want as well.
You come into this role off the back of a memorable season at Hearts. How difficult or how easy a decision was it to make the move and come here?
No, it's not easy. I love my time at Hearts. Hearts is a brilliant club. My time at Hearts was short, but it was brilliant. I would love to have managed Hearts longer. To be honest, I thought I should have been there a lot longer before I was appointed. And we had a special season. There's no two ways about it. It was tough how it all played out, but proud of the work that we all done, my staff, the players together. We did some great things there, and we, as I said, this time last year, getting appointed at Hearts, bottom 16, to us to get 80 points, break club records, left, right and centre. We just fell short to win a title, which hurt on the day, but as I say, becoming Rangers manager is something that I always wanted to do. The call was a surprise when it came about, because obviously the manager was in place here. I was on my holiday, and obviously all things kind of kicked off, and it was a busy 5 or 6 days in between, but I had a lot to consider. But becoming Rangers manager is something I've always wanted, and I feel so comfortable the decision was made, and being here feels right.
Success is measured differently everywhere, but really Rangers managers are only really judged on the number of trophies they win. It's been quite a while since a Rangers manager or head coach were able to deliver silverware consistently. How confident are you that you're going to be able to do that, and what is your message for the Rangers supporters?
Yeah, it's just similar to what I said there about trying to get a team on the pitch that they can get behind. They need something to believe in, they need something real. As I say, a lot of managers have sat in this position first day and said they're going to do this and going to do that. It's easy to say things, but it's a lot harder to get it done. But there's work to be done here, but we're going to do it well. The intention is to make sure that the work's already getting done for next season in terms of recruiting players. And I'm confident with the work that with the guys, with Jim, with Dan, with Stig, that we're all going to work hard to bring the best players here, because it does take more than just being a good player to play for Rangers and deal with what's expected. There has to be a lot more under the bonnet and to deal with that expectation. And I feel that part of my job and the staff's job that we bring is to try and make the most of the current squad, but also add players that can help us be successful. I'm no kidding. I know if we don't win trophies, there'll be somebody else sitting here not before too long. But I come here with the confidence that I know with the resource we've got, with the infrastructure in place and the support I've got for the people above us, that this should be a winning Rangers team, and this should be a club that should be winning. And Rangers give me the best chance to win, and that's important. I know what I can bring Rangers, but equally I know what Rangers can give me.
Jim, why Derek? Why do you think he was the right fit for Rangers, and can you explain why he sat here as manager and not as head coach?
Well, the first thing is I think it's self-explanatory, the quality that he brings. And I think to come to a club like Rangers, you must have that quality. But he brings standards and he brings leaderships and he brings intangibles that's important to carry the weight of not just the Rangers manager, but to be part of Rangers on an executive level, you have to understand and have that character. So that's the reason why we think Derek was the only candidate for the role. Derek understands the model that we have, the football model, where Dan Purdy's your technical director, looks after recruitment, scouting and analysis. And you see yesterday's announcement, we're delighted to appoint Stig as your performance director, who will oversee the medical, sports science and the academy. But Dan and Stig will also work on the strategic direction of the football team. Derek will work within that model. And there's no real difference between what Derek and Danny's role was. Ultimately, we gave a nod to the history of this football club. It was important to Derek and important to us that we've done that, and that's why he's the Rangers manager.
Jim, can you talk us through the process of Danny's departure? Because I think 5 weeks prior to him leaving, he was given the full backing by Andrew Kavanagh. Did it come as a shock to you that he then ended up leaving this summer?
Well, we gave Danny a backing in May, as you say, when things evolve over time. The decision for Danny to move on was your decision, Rangers Football Club's decision. Danny was contracted to Rangers and had no buyout, so ultimately we could have told Charlesworthy he wasn't for sale. But we decided that we wanted to bring Derek in, and that was the motivation to let Danny go and bring Derek in, because he was a man that we had already highlighted as the man to bring success to Rangers.
Derek, it's well documented you previously had the opportunity to come to Rangers, decided it wasn't the right time. What's changed about you and what's changed about the club in that time that you feel that this is now the right time?
Well, nothing's really changed with me. I feel as though I was ready for it back then, but it just a different set of circumstances, and there was a lot going on at that time. I was leaving a really secure club in Aberdeen, and an enjoyable period at Aberdeen, but at that time I wanted to be the Rangers manager as well, but it was a different ownership, different set of circumstances, a different feeling, to be honest, as soon as we kind of got into talks and negotiations. I think today is about becoming the Rangers manager rather than looking back. I'm just delighted I've been given the opportunity to be asked again, and with that I'm just eager to get going.
Derek, a lot of Rangers fans want to see a team on the front foot, a team that entertains. What can you promise these fans about a Derek McInnes side?
I think every supporter will probably want what you just said there, Peter, to be honest. And it's easy to say it, but you've got to try and implement that. Sitting here a year on, a lot of things that I wanted for my Hearts team last year is similar to what I want here. I want us to try and impose ourselves on opposition. I don't want teams to come here and feel comfortable and play their way into the game and try and all of a sudden maybe that fear factor isn't there playing against Rangers. We've got to make teams really struggle when they play against us. We've got to make them suffer, and we've got to try and play in a manner which allows us to do that. We've got good players currently, and we're going to bring good players. So the quality that Jim talks about, you have to have quality to be a Rangers player, but it takes a lot more than that, and there's been an identity and an intensity that is required to win games domestically. And for me, we want to do well right across the board in Europe and all the rest of it, but we need to start being more relevant again, winning trophies domestically, and that for me is key.
Is it important, you know the demands as a player here at Ibrox when you played here, is the demand on yourself, knowing full well that Rangers are going to win the title this season, is that the pressure you'll put on yourself, because that's what many fans will expect?
The intention is to win the title as quickly as possible.
Derek, it's felt like for the last few years it's been a heavy shirt for a lot of players to wear. How important is it, as you say, that you acquire players this summer who are going to be, I guess, leaders for you on the park, as you evidently had at Hearts last season?
Yeah, I want the players to feel that when you sign for Rangers, it's incumbent on them all that part of the reason when they sign here is to be successful. It's incumbent of them. They've got to feel that responsibility. A lot of players will sign for a club for lots of reasons, location, financial reasons, all the rest of it. But there's got to be a part that we all sign up here is to win trophies and be successful, because if you're not here long, and it's not a good place to be when you're not winning. So for me, I want to enjoy being a Rangers manager, and I can only do that by winning. And the players can only really enjoy being here by winning games. The heat and all the noise comes on really quickly if you're not winning. And we've had a period now, the last week, where we haven't won enough, and we haven't done enough to do that. So it's your job to try and change that. and it's no words that are going to do it, it's actions, it's day to day, it's standards, it's driving the pace of it all. But working with good players is going to be the key part of it, and players who really want to enjoy being here and being successful.
There's obviously going to be another summer of pretty significant change in terms of ins and outs. How important is it that you get those players in quickly, I guess, so you can start the season as quickly as you want to?
Yeah, so I think when the window closes, we've got to be as strong as we want to be. You know, for all the reasons that we just mentioned about trying to win a league this season, we're not going to probably get everything we want, and it's no many clubs do. But it's important that the money we do have at our disposal, the budget we've got to work with, we use it well and wisely. And you know, I'd like to think that we've got players in the building who are capable of a wee bit more as well, and it's up to me and the staff to get that out of them. So with all that in mind, there might be changes, players leaving, players coming in, but every player coming in will give us something. We're working hard currently to try and make sure we bring a level of player then that can deal with the expectation, but also give us that extra bit of quality that clearly we need. Last season was disappointing for the club, and something similar ain't going to get the job done, so there's work to be done.
Derek, you're in the kind of unique position of, as well as being a Rangers fan as a boy growing up, knowing about the history of the club, you've also managed against Rangers the last few seasons. What is it that you've identified as an opposing coach that this team maybe lacks that you'll need to bring?
I think there's clearly good players over the last period. Certainly last season, I think Rangers showed at times, you know, during games how good they were, and individually very good. But I think it's to try and make us more of a team and try and make sure that we, on tight games, we win. And too many draws it maybe last season, and it's trying to find those answers in the game. But with that, you need to have confident players. I want a confident Rangers team. I want a confident Rangers player, and you know, and I think that it's not just turning up some of the time. You've got to try and turn up all the time, turn up for your work and do it well.
Stephen Clifford, 4 Lads in a Dream. Derek, welcome to the football club. Can you just introduce your backroom staff? Because obviously there's some members of staff here from the previous regime. Can you just kind of explain how that'll all work and who you brought with you?
So I've brought Paul Sheeran, Alan Archibald and Craig Clark. Paul and Alan, former teammates and coaches with me for a long time now. Paul was coaching me, gave him the reserve manager's job at St Johnstone when I got a manager's job. I took him at Aberdeen and worked with him closely. Both have been managers in their own right. I like that about my staff. I feel as though that every decision I make with the 3 guys, they're always heavily involved in that, whether it's signing players, whether it's training, whether it's naming a team, substitutions, everything. And Craig was somebody who inherited at Kilmarnock. He was under 18s coach when he was there, and I thought he was wasted in that role. As good as he was doing that role, I thought I fast-tracked him really at the first team really quickly and worked with him there. It was my intention to try and get him to Hearts, but I couldn't take him to Hearts due to the amount of staff we already had at the club. But delighted to bring Craig alongside us again and work together. So each will bring something a bit different. Craig's a bit younger than the 3 of us, but everybody's got a role to play, and it's important for me as a manager that I've got a staff who understand the pressures and understand what we're trying to do, and the support I've had from all 3 in the past has been great, and I'll need that again.
Derek, just with regards to transfers, can you explain your kind of role in the transfers? I'm assuming obviously you'll have the final say, but it's been spoken about before. There's a bit of a different way to do it here with the committee and things like that Rangers do. Can you explain your kind of role in that and how the transfers will work?
Yeah, so I don't think it's a committee, but it's a modern way of doing things. So what we've got is a recruitment team who will liaise with constantly. We'll identify the key positions that we feel we need to bring, and within that there's conversations getting had and work to be done to try and bring first protocols, affordability and accessibility to bring players here. There's no point in fishing in ponds that we're not going to be able to bring players in and waste too much time. So we quickly arrive at maybe a list of players that we can get, and then along with Jim and obviously Stig going forward, and with Dan, we try and arrive at the best option for us, both financially and more importantly how good a player he is and what he can bring. So age and everything is all part of it, but not every player needs to be a young player for development, and I think we understand that. There's a model there that we want to try and adhere to, but you know, we've been given assurances that every player that we sign will come down to me in the final decision. So, but it's a collaboration really, and it's like-minded people just having conversations on a daily basis, trying to arrive at the best option for us.
Derek, Ewan Cameron from STV. Cards on the table, I'm a Hearts man through and through. A year ago, I watched you at Tynecastle with a heart scarf above your head. So it's quite surreal to see you sat here today. Was there at any point that you were tempted to stay at Hearts to try and take Hearts one step further from getting so close to winning the league? Was that temptation ever there? And secondly, do you have a message for the Hearts fans who took you to their heart? And thirdly, can you give them assurances you won't be buying any players from Tynecastle?
So, first of all, I love my time at Hearts. As I said there, I spoke. It was only a short time that we tried to make the most of what we had there, and worked with so many good people. The way the season played out was really harsh on us all, and it was hard to deal with, to be honest, hard to process, and there was a lot of anger and a lot of frustration for obvious reasons. But the initial part of the close season was try to re-sign players and try and go again. That's the only response. But so I did have a good time there, but this opportunity came along, and you know, this wasn't the one I was going to say no to be honest with you. I always felt I wanted this opportunity, and I hoped it would come again, and I'm just grateful for that. And what was the last question?
You weren't tempted to stay, no? You're all
Yeah, I don't
coming
think
here.
it's not. You don't just say yes without having conversations. You know, the initial approach was Rangers wanting to speak to me, so it kind of came out of the blue. But I did have a really good time at Hearts, and I worked with a lot of good people, and I believe in the potential of Hearts. But at the same time, I believe in the potential here, and I think this gives me the best chance to win a bit more. It was a sobering feeling leaving Celtic Park, and probably the lowest point in my career, because I had a firm belief that we were going to win the league for a long period. So all these things wrestle with you, and you know, I think Rangers give me the best chance to win titles and go forward here. And obviously our job is to try and bring the best players now, and as it stands we're not looking to go and get anybody to Hearts.
You're not buying in from Hearts. That's it. You're not buying in from Hearts. You can give the Hearts fans that assurance.
Well, I'm just saying we'll not do it all the time, but we're certainly not having any conversations this window.
I would never give any club any assurances that I'll never buy a player from or a coach.
But the players we'll be discussing, there's no player under contract at Hearts we'll be discussing.
Hi Derek, it's Bradley Cook here from STV News as well. Can I ask, what would you like Rangers to be known as under your leadership? What would their kind of philosophy, the style, what would people see when they see your Rangers side?
Just a team playing to win, believing they can win, going the full way to win, never giving it up. You know, the job here is just to win. I'm not going to talk about philosophies. I know how I want my team to play. I think I've demonstrated that as my team over a period now. Hopefully, as I say, it's getting the most out of the team we've got here currently. But the intention is just to win. We need to win here.
Great, thank you. And just a quick one from Jim, if possible. Jim, what lessons have been learned, do you think, from previous appointments, which makes you think that this latest one is the one that can help drive the club forward?
Well, I was involved in any previous appointments, but what I can assure you is that we've been very clear around about what we have as a football strategy and what we believe would be the profile of a successful manager for Rangers Football Club, and Derek McInnes fits all those characters and was the only choice for us to do it. We're absolutely delighted to have executed that in the manner in which we did.
Sorry, just before, can I just check any other questions, because we've got 5 minutes left? Okay.
I'll make it quick.
Get up.
Derek, David Curry, BBC Scotland here. Many congratulations. I just wonder, can you win the league next season?
Can we? Yeah, of course we can. Yeah, it's easy to say it, but the intention is to go and do that. You know, we've got work to do, as I've said. But the reason I'm here is because I believe we can.
Yeah, a question to Jim. Jim, you said we all know at Rangers what future success looks like. Could you just elaborate on that? In the short term, Derek signed a 3-year contract. I know Steven Gerrard, it took him 3 seasons to win the league.
Yeah. So we go into every game with an expectation that we're going to win it. Ultimately, if we win every game, we achieve success and silverware. That'll be no different. The demands placed on Derek and us as a football club. What we need to do is ensure that the resources available to Rangers is allocated and distributed in a way that gives everyone the best opportunity of success. The support we have from the owners and above, not just the support with resources, also the experience and intelligence that they give us, allows us to actually be confident that we can really push on and give the club, as I say, it's really important to give the fans a club that they're proud of, and Rangers' DNA is to be successful and winning trophies.
Mark, then Fraser to finish, please.
Mark, like no follow. Considering your experience of refereeing in VAR in the last season, do you have the confidence that the football authorities have got the wherewithal to make changes that will be meaningful and actually aid the game? And secondly, if I could, particularly under Steven Gerrard, the number of games the club is playing in Europe, the quality of the opponents that we're getting results against. What are your expectations for the team in Europe this year?
Yeah, so obviously it was well documented last season, a lot of high profile refereeing decisions. I think every manager in the league and every supporter would just want to expect the best from referees. The referees have got a tough job, so hopefully this year there can be less chat about VAR decisions and key VAR decisions, and I think we're all in agreement with that. And that's for mentioning Stevie's team that did so well in Europe. Of course, I think sometimes those serve the fans some of the best moments here. I did a lot of TV games and covered a lot of the games here, and you can see the atmosphere. And a lot of my best memories as a player was European night. So I think Rangers should be searching for that and get as much from the European campaigns as possible. But equally, we also need to be domestic. Relevant again domestically, winning trophies domestically, which gives everybody confidence, I think, in the wherewithal to go and attack Europe a wee bit more. So hopefully we can be greedy and get a bit of everything.
Any question?
Jim, just a simple one. How important is it you get a period of stability now in this position after the turnover of managers there's been in this club?
That's absolutely our aim. Any successful organisation has stability embedded in it, and we aim to get stability embedded in Rangers Football Club. Not just in Derek's appointment, but in all of the systems, both on the football side and the non-football side. It's really important that we have an ability to be stable, to have that ambition to drive growth, to actually have the momentum to achieve the success that we aim for.